What is up, duelists? Arts and Crafts here, once again bringing you your daily dose of Yu-Gi-Oh! Gold format action. Today's feature match, we've got Rainbow versus Vive Cristo. As always, both players rated in the top 200 of the Dueling Book Gold format ladder. At the time this match was played, let's hop right into it. It looks like Vive won the RPS. They'll be going first. And they will lead out with a classic set monster with a couple back row pass. Nothing too crazy, but not giving away really any information. We'll see how Rainbow can react. You're going to go normal summon DD Warrior Lady. Okay, so potentially playing a little bit of a warrior strategy. Maybe playing some sort of Goat or Chaos Control list. Those are kind of the two decks that card is often played in. Has the knock here as well. Correct sequencing to play around Torrential, summoning first before you knock. Let's see what Cristo... Yeah, just going to let it go through. Knock hits Dekoichi. We'll see if both players are running any additional copies of that. Looks like Rainbow is running at least one. Vive Cristo has at least two. Okay, so potentially, maybe you're thinking seeing Dekoichi in the deck, if you're Vive Cristo, kind of rules out a warrior list. So maybe it's more of like a chaos control sort of strategy out of Rainbow here. Path is clear for DD Warrior Lady to start beating it for some damage, though, so 1500 will come through. Vive Cristo will drop down to 6500. And then Rainbow's just going to pass there. Solid turn, though, kind of stealing back the tempo advantage with Nobleman of Crossout, applying some pressure. Not too bad. DD Warrior Lady is one of those monsters that you don't always need to have back row to protect as well, because it kind of has built-in protection for monsters, because it can't just get easily beaten over, so totally fine to just throw it out if you have nothing to protect it with. It's still pretty awkward to deal with. Vive Cristo going to go fire off a Jar of Greed, thin the deck a little bit, and then going to go set a monster pass once more. One knock already gone, so less likely that Rainbow is going to have an out to it. And maybe you're just trying to wall out the DD Warrior Lady here. Rainbow going to go normal summon Exiled Force, though, so has another way of dealing with set monsters. Now, this is extra good in this scenario because the set is probably not Sangan, because you're not going to be setting Sangan into DD Warrior Lady because she's very good at just preventing the search from going through. So it's a very high chance that this Exiled Force is just going to hit something good here. And I really like using Exiled Force when you already have a monster on the board, because Exiled, while a very great and versatile card, is often very tempo negative because it does take your normal summon for the turn to use it. So if you're only play for the turn, like if you have no monsters and you go normal summon Exiled, tribute it to kill your opponent's monster, that's good, but then you don't have any follow-up plays because you used your normal summon most of the time. However, saving it for maybe the second turn of the game here, like Rainbow's doing, when you already have a monster on the board to capitalize on clearing out your opponent's defense, is kind of the perfect use for Exiled Force here. Because then using your normal summon to deal with your opponents is totally fine, and you still have something to pressure. So really nice play here. Hits a Gravekeeper Spy, which is really awesome. One of the best ways of walling out DD Warrior Lady, because you're not going to... Most of the time, you're not just going to like have Warrior Lady trade itself with one Spy, because that's pretty negative in card advantage. So Rainbow setting up for a really nice couple turns here. They're going to get rewarded by being able to attack in with DD Warrior Lady once more. Right off the gate here. Ooh, yeah, and kind of forcing out Raigeki Break. Ooh, discarding a Night Assailant, though, so it is just going to be a nice 1-for-1. But Raigeki Break is kind of one of those more versatile cards, and the fact that DD Warrior Lady already got some damage in means that it got a lot of value here. Forcing out a Raigeki Break. Vive Cristo has the Night Assailant to discard to just get the Spy back in hand, so it's not the end of the world for them. But I think this did a lot of work up to this point. Cristo will be able to recur that Spy, though, which will be really nice if they're just trying to stabilize against a little bit more of an aggressive start for Rainbow here. And we're just gonna pass, though. Still no back row, so maybe a little bit of a monster heavy hand for Rainbow here. Don't have Chaos Live, just one Light Engrave. So opening here for Vive Cristo to kind of make something happen. Just gonna go T-set pass. Very likely that the set is just that Gravekeeper Spy that we know about. Will be very strong if they're able to resolve it, and you've already gone through a knock and an Exiled, so pretty unlikely that Rainbow can deal with this at this point. Let's see, though. We're going to go Premature Burial for Exiled, though, so another potential way of dealing with this. And then we're going to go pop it, and so the Spy is dealt with once more. And now, once again, nicely, Premature on the Exiled means you don't have to use your normal summon for the turn to use the Exiled. So you could follow up with some actual pressure here if you have a monster in hand. And we are going to get the Asura Priest to come down, I feel like you still probably should have gone normal Asura Priest first, to play around a potential Torrential Tribute here now, because now if Vive Cristo has Torrential set, this is probably a no-brainer. But it looks like they don't have it. Asura will get in for 17. And once again, keeping this tempo up, double exiled on back-to-back turns to kind of keep Cristo on the back foot, unable to resolve a single foot monster so far this game. And all the meanwhile, you're clocking the opponent with your threats like DD Warrior Lady and Asura Priest. So really solid gameplay here so far out of Rainbow, keeping Vive Cristo on the back foot. Now, yeah, I feel like seeing main deck Asura Priest as well as the main deck Dekoichi means that this is probably a Chaos Control list. Could very well just be Goat Control playing Dekoichi, but, you know, we'll definitely get some more context as the match goes on. Vive Cristo here knows about the Asura in hand, so board empty just for now to maybe get something going. And surely they don't have another out for a set monster, right? Knock, exiled, Prima, all gone. Let's see what the play is, though. Just going to set a back row pass, so Rainbow may have just ran Vive Cristo out of gas here. We'll see if they can punish this empty board. I mean, Asura Priest alone is a pretty good punish here. Asura Priest is also nice because if Vive Cristo is also on potentially like a Chaos Control sort of list, which they definitely could be up to this point, leaning Turbo, of course, but could very well be Chaos Control. If their only play is like set Scapegoat, Asura Priest deals with that very easily, right? So kind of a solid choice to have here for Rainbow. Let's see. Yeah, we're just going to go Asura, get in for 17. Cristo has to Raigeki break here again, and this time has to discard a real card. The Nobleman of Crossout coming out. Asura Priest getting the nice 2-for-1, having already dealt 1,700 points of damage. And yeah, you can see this unrelenting pressure from Rainbow, really forcing Vive Cristo to make some awkward decisions here, just to kind of stabilize and prevent the life points coming through. Now, Asura Priest was Rainbow's normal summon for the turn, so the tide is kind of pushed back for now. But we still haven't seen Rainbow play any sort of set back row, so they could just have more where that came from, honestly. Just going to pass turn here as well. But Vive Cristo now having to sacrifice some cards just to protect their life points. Rainbow's sort of pulling away here, and that's the value of pressuring your opponent's life points, right? The threat of winning the game or getting to a scenario where you're closer to winning the game can force it can basically like gain you card advantage by forcing your opponent into suboptimal plays, right? So we forced out the Raigeki break. Vive Cristo made the call that they did not have enough time to wait to actually get another discard outlet like they had the first time around with that Night Assailant. So they had to 2-for-1 themselves to deal with that. And Rainbow's pressure, essentially, they were able to convert a pressure advantage into a card advantage, as we see here. Cristo, of course, still can stabilize. They're only at 4,800 life, so not super close to death, right? Still no Chaos life, so you don't have to worry about any like crazy Alpha Strikes just yet. Top deck's Upstart Goblin, thinning the deck a little bit more as well. Into Thunder Dragon, okay, so Cristo, yeah, definitely just looks like they're playing pretty standard Chaos Turbo up till now. And they're still just going to pass, though, yeah, so Upstart into Thunder Dragon does not get you any sort of play. Of course, I bet would have wished that they had found that Thunder Dragon pre-having to Raigeki break the Asura Priest, but definitely felt a little bit scared for their life points, so can understand making that play. Asura now, or sorry, Rainbow now, just going to go set a monster pass, so not going aggressive, but is potentially setting up for something nice. These decks, we saw that they are playing some flip monsters, at least Dekoichi in hand, or Dekoichi in the deck, and it's very rare for decks to only be on the single copy of Dekoichi, I will say, so I wouldn't be surprised if Rainbow had a second copy in hand that they're maybe choosing to set now that they can't go for the Asura Priest play to pressure the life points. So if you're Vive Cristo, decent chance that this is Dekoichi, but could also be like Magician of Faith, could be Spy, something like that. Cristo here, let's see what the play is, though. Just going to set a monster of their own, so finally finding a play. But still down a little bit of tempo here. Rainbow will be able to resolve their flip first, if that is what they have. And it's going to be, okay, so it is going to be a Spy. So Spy coming through, summoning it out in defense. So likely does not have a knock to pair with this to deal with the set monster. Vive Cristo flips potentially are finally safe after the early onslaught of answers out of Rainbow. And Rainbow just going for a little bit more defensive posturing here, summoning the Spine defense, making use of that big 2000 defense body. No, we do have the Nobleman. Okay, so I feel like generally, I feel like you got to go attack position Spy here, right? If they have Mirror Force, I mean, it's well, no, this back row has been set for most of the game, right? Maybe not. I haven't been exactly tracking what this back row was. But either way, if it's Mirror Force, it's still really just a 1-for-1 trade because you're like trading Mirror Force for essentially a spy, and the extra spy is like a bonus, I guess, right? Um, and then 2 spies here is just a 2-turn clock, right? It's 2400 a turn. So getting the extra spy attack in here greatly speeds up your pressure. So I feel like you kind of need to go for that play. You knock a Sinister Serpent, which is really nice. Viva Crystal will not have access to that anymore. But now you're not maximally punishing this. You hit in for 12, and that's like fine. But a spy alone now is what, a 4-turn clock, including this turn. Whereas you could just literally double your clock if you attacked with both. And if they have Mirror Force, they have Mirror Force. It's not the end of the world. You're still up card, right? So kind of is what it is. Especially because you know Viva Cristo has 2 Dead Thunder Dragons in hand as well. So like you want to punish them while they're waiting to unlock their hand. I just don't think it's worth playing around Mirror Force here. There's too much benefit to the attack position spy to be this defensive. And you know what? Even if you do summon, even if you have no back row to protect it, like one of your spies is going to be a sitting duck anyway. So having the second one there is pretty unlikely that they're going to be able to beat over both of them in the same turn. Whereas now Christo can just go and clear out this one spy if they have a beater or something, and it kind of resolves to the same thing, but they have 1200 more life than they would have otherwise. Viva Cristo. Okay, we do have a little bit of chaos action though, so yeah. Finding that Thunder Dragon last turn, definitely helping to set up getting that Light Engrave. And now, I mean, honestly, probably top decking the BLS here. Otherwise, it probably comes down last turn into the empty back row to banish this set monster. So a nice string of top decks here for Viva Cristo, finding the Thunder Dragon, and then immediately finding the BLS to capitalize on the Light Engrave. And now it kind of doesn't matter which position your spies are in because BLS is just going to kill both of them. I guess it protects your life points a little bit, but really not the end of the world. Actually, if you are Viva Cristo, there is merit to summoning the BLS in defense position and banishing these spies to keep the darks out of grave, right? Because there is no dark in grave just yet. And now, sure, you can summon BLS and banish a spy, but because your BLS is in attack position, Rainbow could go ahead and just crash into your BLS on their own turn and turn Chaos on. So, I mean, I guess if you have like Tribe or something as a follow-up to just clear out and go for even more damage, maybe this attack position makes sense. Like if your plan is just to attack with BLS this turn, that's fine. But you should at least be aware that you might be setting up your opponent for a chaos play. So you better have an out to it if you're going to go for this a little bit more aggressive of a line. And yeah, so going into attack position because they do plan on just clearing out both all at once, turning chaos on for the opponent, but maybe has a solemn judgment or something to deal with it on the flip side. Clearing out both cards, both spies for free is pretty nice though. And then we have Tsukuyomi to set the BLS face down. So this does at least play a little bit around chaos because now it has to be exactly BLS to answer this. Or I guess Chaos Sorcerer plus a monster to crash into the BLS, perhaps. But we'll see if Rainbow even has the chaos to capitalize on this. Not guaranteed, of course. They're gonna go, set a monster into creature swap. Wow, yeah, so Rainbow here, as expected, definitely playing a little bit of chaos control, or maybe go control, right? We haven't seen Thunder Dragon or any Chaos Sorcerer action just yet. Just usually when you see like the Koichi Spy, it's probably more likely to be chaos control. But finding this creature swap here, stealing BLS is pretty massive. You give them an Abyss Soldier. Okay, so actually, yeah, maybe this is just go control, running like good flips like Dekoichi and Spy. And creature swap, a very, very powerful card. You give your opponent an Abyss Soldier, which is kind of funny, but at least you know that their Serpent is banished, so they would need like exactly Tribe to bounce stuff, and that is a negative card advantage play. So you're actually totally fine giving them Abyss Soldier in this situation. And if you had to pick between BLS or Abyss Soldier, you're definitely going to pick the BLS, right? So temporarily going down a card, but with the threat of going plus a lot if you can kind of make it back to your next turn with this BLS on board. A little bit of a gambit, because if Viva Cristo can just like knock this VLS or something, you are just going down in cards. But I definitely like the attempt at going for the BLS, just to kind of shake things up. Gonna pass though, so yeah, still no back row to protect things. This might be like a goat control deck running Decree, so they just don't have a lot of, you know, back row to really set, right? Besides like Scapegoat, which they clearly haven't found yet. And maybe a couple staple traps, although we haven't seen any so far. So just a pretty back row light deck in general is often these go control lists. But what that does mean is when you go for risky plays like creature swap without immediately being able to get advantage from it, it does mean you're kind of a sitting duck, and you might not be able to recuperate that negative card if Viva Cristo can just find an answer to the monster that you stole. Let's see, though. We're going to get flip summon Abyss Soldier. We're just going to go Abyss Soldier, flip up. Okay, and then maybe set up for Ring or something, now that it's face up, is the idea. Or maybe Snatch Steal. Okay, so we're going to go Abyss Soldier, crash into the BLS just to flip it face up. And then main phase 2, we're going to set a monster, set a back row pass. So would not be surprised if this set is Ring of Destruction. Well, no, it can't be Ring, right? Because Ring kills yourself. So what would it need to be face up for you to crash in there? That you also want to use on your opponent's turn. Nothing comes to mind right now, but there's probably just something I'm forgetting, right? Interesting. We'll see exactly how this plays out though. Rainbow, yeah, makes it a main phase 1. Can't be Ring, of course, so you could just go ahead, BLS, banish the set monster is pretty nice. Gonna do that. You banish the Sook. Okay. So yeah, Viva Cristo, if you can't punish the BLS immediately, it's kind of a weird play, because they're gonna probably flip it up face up anyway, right? So, but then by crashing into the BLS, it turns you off the ability to Ring because you just took 700 damage via the crash. So really, I mean, maybe this will make sense in the future, but kind of an odd play to me to just take 700 damage for really nothing. And then we're just going to end up tribute summoning for Zaborg anyway to pop the Abyss Soldier. Okay, does turn Ring back on, but now we're just going to get in for a lot of damage. Not too bad. And it is Ring. Okay, yeah. Interesting. So maybe Vive Crystal going for this play. I mean, maybe what are you hoping Rainbow plays Upstart Goblin to get you back over 3,000 life points? I don't know. It just seems pretty weird. You are just kind of forced to ring the Zaborg here. You still will take the 2,400, but then at least your opponent doesn't get to pass with lethal on board. But, I mean, yeah, you might as well let them flip summon the BLS, use their priority to banish something, and then still be able to ring it, right? Whereas the play you made is it turned Ring off anyway, and you took 700 for free, and now you end up having to ring the Zaborg anyway, which if you were just able to ring the BLS, they couldn't have played in the first place. I mean, you're probably not thinking about playing around Zaborg specifically, but I'm just not exactly sure what that Abyss Soldier attack play accomplished. And Viva Cristo very much on the back foot now. Down to 500 life points. Ring still left in deck potentially for Rainbow, although they definitely do look like a Decree deck, like I said before, so they might not be playing Ring. Although Ring is generally good enough that even if you are playing a Royal Decree deck, you still probably play Ring. Especially because unlike the other staple traps like Torrential and Mirror Force, Ring can be used at basically any time as long as there's a legal target on the board. So it's pretty easy to make sure that you can use your Ring before you can activate Decree. Whereas the ones with actual trigger conditions like Mirror Force and Torrential can sometimes, you might just not have a good chance to use them before you want to get Decree online. Whereas that's not really as much of a concern with Ring because it's more flexible. Cristo here is at least like up some cards, I guess. Yeah. It's a little bit weird. No, but they still have 2 Dead Thunder Dragons in it, and they went first. So they actually are not really up any cards at all. And they're down at 500 life. So really need to stabilize at this point, right? You can't really afford to take any more attacks. They do have a set monster here to protect the life points, but Rainbow in a very good position to try and close this game out, I think. Just going to go set a couple back row here, though, and pass. So nothing crazy. Viva Cristo has to be very mindful of playing around Ring, but no threats out of Rainbow will make this attempt to stabilize a little bit more likely to succeed. Viva Cristo is going to go flip Summon Spy, which does get a monster in attack position, which can be a little bit scary against Rainbow, where they're playing a lot of powerful beaters. You know, normal Summon Abyss, attack over the attack position, Spy is just GG, so Cristo potentially exposing themselves to a little bit of danger here. We're going to go Defense Spy, which totally makes sense. Attacking for 12. You want to clock the opponent. You got, right now Rainbow has the inevitability because they can just draw Ring at any point and win. So you want to start clocking the opponent at least safely while you can to kind of force the issue. And then we're going to go main phase 2, tribute the Spy, likely for a Thunder Dragon, setting it face down. So now you're not exposed with any face-up monsters for Rainbow to potentially beat over for the few remaining points of damage they need to win the game. So nice play here, clocking the opponent a little bit, resolving a Spy, but then still keeping those shields up. And if Vive Cristo is going to come back in this game and stabilize, it's going to look a whole lot like this, playing very cautiously. So I like the way they're proceeding here. Rainbow, though, really just needs to draw Ring. Tribe Infecting Virus is quite good as well. You can basically make the call that the set monster is Thunder Dragon, so Tribe can beat over that. You can go Tribe Effect Calling Spellcaster to wipe out the Spy here. Could be pretty dangerous if they have another follow-up monster. Yeah, so we are going to see Tribe discarding Metamorphosis, Calling Spellcaster, so just getting a nice trade there. A 1-for-1. Ooh, but we have Book of Moon out of Vive Cristo to turn the Spy to defense. Now, Ring for game would be crazy, but Rainbow does not have that. I mean, I guess you could Ring regardless anyway. Tribe Effect will essentially just fizzle, but it's still just a 1-for-1 trade. You're trading your meta for your opponent's Book of Moon, which is totally fine, and the Tribe is going to be able to beat over this Thunder Dragon regardless. We're going to go put some in Jar of Greed, okay? And then what's the play? Rainbow thinking about it. We're going to go Creature Swap. Saying, okay, I'll take either the Spy or the Thunder Dragon, but just leave you with the Tribe? That seems really odd to me. I feel like Tribe is pretty good against both of the monsters you can end up getting here. Right? Rainbow may have one Spy left in deck, but Tribe can clear that out pretty easily, of course. Doesn't really care how many monsters you have if they're all the same type, of course. So this is a curious creature swap, but I'm interested to see exactly what the play is. Cristo hands over the Spy. Really odd play. And Cristo has enough life points to go Tribe, attack the Spy, force out a third one if there is, and then clean them both up. Like, I feel like the difference between 500 and 100 isn't super crazy here. Although, staying above 100 does mean, like, a top deck Asura Priest from Rainbow, if they're running multiple copies, won't kill you. So maybe this is fine. What does giving the opponent Tribe do for you? That just seems really interesting. And another one of these, like, very risky creature swap plays that I feel like has a low % chance of actually working out for you. So maybe you're getting a little bit too cute here, but we'll see exactly how it turns out, of course. Vive, we're going to go Tribute Set again. Okay. So likely both Thunder Dragons face down on the field here. Not wanting to put anything face up to play around potential top deck Ring. Especially now that your Book of Moon is gone. You could have been a little bit more brazen before playing into Ring of Destruction because you had the Book of Moon to flip the target face down. But now, unless you're running multiple copies of Book, your Book is gone. So Ring is now even more of a threat than it was before. But yeah, just putting up the shields here. Rainbow has this set Spy. We'll see if they have the third one in deck. We're going to go normal summon Kaiku. Okay, so still has a beater here, which is pretty big and get over both of these Thunder Dragons, most likely. Yeah, why are we asking what this is? That's pretty funny. It's a tribute monster. Yes, okay. And it is Thunder Dragon as expected. Kaiku just going to beat over there. This does turn Chaos off of the opponent as long as the Kaiku effect is on board, which could be pretty relevant. Viva Cristo seems to just be running turbo, so pretty likely that they have one or more copies of Chaos Sorcerer in the deck that Kaiku could be turning off at the moment. Just going to pass there, though. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe Rainbow not realizing that both of these set monsters are almost always going to be Thunder Dragon, and so going for the creature swap play because they didn't think Tribe was big enough to do anything. That just seems really strange to me, though. And you basically just threw away a card for pretty much nothing. You're still in a decent position, though, because Viva Cristo, like I mentioned before, at such low life that they have to play very awkwardly to protect themselves. But ever since you got into this position where Viva Cristo is just holding on to dear life, some pretty odd plays out of Rainbow. And so they likely could have been in a position where they could have closed out this game a lot sooner. They always had if they had Tribe attack over the Thunder Dragon last turn, right, then there would only be one monster left on board, and you could actually have been threatening your opponent's life points at this point, whereas now you're just playing really, really slowly. We'll see, though. Viva Cristo. It's going to go... Oh, so Rainbow clarifying that they meant I want to attack the new one that you said, not the old one. Not the end of the world. Viva Cristo here, though, firing off Heavy Storm in main phase 1, so wanting to go for some sort of play here, clearing out both back rows, hits a Dead Trap Dust Shoot of their own, and hits a Bluff Set Metamorphosis from Rainbow. Getting a little bit cute there, but suffering, getting punished by Heavy Storm. Of course, not really any good meta targets on the board at the moment, but definitely could be useful in the future. A lot of level 4s in this deck to be running lots of Metamorphoses, but maybe just hasn't drawn Scapegoat at all. But now back row is clear. Ooh, Vive can go snatch the Kaiku, which maybe could go turn on Chaos for them. Yeah, so snatching the Kaiku to remove the Floodgate effect from their side of the field, allowing them to summon Chaos Sorcerer, and now that you're in a very good position, Sork can beat over the Spy, set up to banish one the next turn. You turn off Chaos from Rainbow, which is live as well. So really nice turnaround here. And yeah, I feel like Rainbow could have potentially been in a position where they could have closed this game out. But unfortunately made some awkward plays. And now this has just allowed Vive Cristo to kind of get themselves into a pretty commanding position. Yeah, we can go flip summon Thunder Dragon. Yeah, I mean, and this is just game unless Rainbow is running the third Spy, which is no guarantee, right? Third Spy is pretty much standard nowadays in Chaos Turbo, but in Chaos Control, when you have other sorts of packages, or even Go Control, which I think Rainbow is playing, in a Go Control list where you have a lot of other things you kind of want to squeeze into the 40 cards, it's pretty common to cut the third Spy and just run 2. So Viva Cristo is saying, okay, good chance you don't run the third Spy, so I just win immediately. Otherwise, I'm still passing with lethal on board because I can go Sork banish your remaining Spy, and then my 2 guys will kill you next turn. I mean, I guess that's actually not lethal, though, because they will gain 1,000 off of the snatch, but you're still in a very, very good position regardless, especially with the Kaiku Floodgate effect. But we'll see if Rainbow lives to see another day. Nope, looks like they only run double Spy, and Viva Cristo is going to punish that and close out a game that they honestly looked dead to rights for a very long time. Rainbow on this like pretty aggressive Go Control list. Really pressing the issue early on in the game, dropping Viva Cristo very low, very early, but then Viva Cristo just started playing very conservatively, putting up the shields, playing around ring as best they could, and Rainbow just kind of waited too long to press the issue, and Viva Cristo found a nice little alpha strike line here to win the game. And game 1 goes down to... Ooh. Huh. Okay, so Rainbow admitting that they had BLS in hand. Which is, yeah, I feel like they played way too much around Mirror Force and Torrential there, right? Like, it's really not the end of the world in a lot of cases. Because Viva Cristo didn't really have anything, right? I mean, like, you can play around Mirror Force a lot. I mean, you could have tested for it by attacking with both Spies to drop Viva Cristo even lower, right? And then once you know it's not Mirror Force, it's like fine, right? Playing into Torrential there isn't even that big a deal because Viva Cristo would have wiped their own board, right? And then you're in a top deck situation with your opponent at 500 life. So yeah, I feel like Rainbow playing much too conservatively there in game one. Personally, for me, I feel like I always say this though. I like when people attack. I just think it's pretty good to be the aggressor as often as you can, as long as you're doing it smartly. Of course, let me know what you think in the comments, but I feel like that was definitely winnable by Rainbow if they were just willing to be a little bit more aggressive there that game. Game two, though, Rainbow on this go control list will be able to go first, so we'll see if they can turn this match around by taking game two. They're just going to lead out with a set monster pass, so still no back row. Yeah, definitely if you're Vive Cristo, you didn't see a single trap that entire game, so you're probably going to tweak your side deck, your post side deck, by assuming you're going to have to be playing around a Royal Decree at some point, right? So likely they would be doing that. See how they can punish the set monster. Gonna go Upstart Goblin, okay. Into Graceful Charity, so opening some Trinity action. Discarding Knight Assailant and a Magician of Faith, so getting a nice little +1 there. And yeah, Vive Cristo off to a really nice start. Finding the Trinity, seeing a lot more cards top of their deck, going plus with the Knight Assailant combo, and it's not done yet, right? Gonna go T-set pass, already up a card. Still down the tempo because they're going second, but pretty solid start there. And we'll see if Rainbow can start to recuperate this advantage, or if this is kind of the beginning of a very long grind game that Cristo on this turbo list is happy to be in against Go Control. Rainbow, let's see. They have the Nobleman cross out for the set monster. Now, if you plan on flipping this up, you definitely want to flip it first to play around Torrential. You hit Sinister, though, so Vive Cristo potentially... Oh, interesting. So they chose not... Oh, and so I guess they went for the Knight Assailant discard instead of the Sinister Serpent discard. And maybe getting a little bit cute, right? Because Rainbow would know that Magician of Faith is in hand. So setting a bluff to bait out something and then prep the way for the Magician of Faith is maybe the idea. So keeping the Sinister hidden so that Rainbow doesn't know that a bluff is available is maybe makes sense there. But getting Sinister knocked this early into the game is kind of pretty bad for Turbo because it can be very, very useful. So if Vive Cristo is not able to resolve this Faith, this actually sets up Rainbow for a decently nice grind game in the future because Sinister will not be available for the Turbo player, which is one of their key cards in very long matches against control decks. We'll see, though. Knock hitting the Serpent. Kaiku's going to come down here, potentially banish the Knight Assailant as well, which would be really nice. Once again, wouldn't have mattered in this case, but you want to summon your stuff before you knock, of course, to play around Torrential. Doesn't actually play around Torrential in this scenario because the set is Sinister Serpent, so Vive would have just Torrentialed if they wanted to anyway. But now Kaiku comes in, going to be able to hit in for 18 and banish the Knight Assailant, so getting a little bit of value. Every time you can connect with Kaiku against Turbo, it feels really good. It is quite a good card in the matchup. Now Vive Cristo is miles away from any sort of chaos action, and has a clock threatening them. Still up a card, though. Just going to set a monster pass. Could very well be that Magician of Faith that they were trying to set up for by bluffing with the Sinister Serpent. Could be a lot of other things, of course, as well. Pretty full hand over there. But no other plays, just going to set a monster pass. Rainbow, we're going to go flip Summon Spy now. Which, I don't know, it just doesn't make... They're so worried about Mirror Force and so worried about Torrential, which are both... I mean, it's, like, fine, I guess. But, like, why wouldn't we have just done this last turn? You know what I mean? Okay, so we just don't have any more copies of Spy. So, yeah, we saw last game Rainbow is on just the 2 Spies, and so must have had the second copy in hand. I mean, in that case, like, I care even less about Torrential or Mirror Force, right? Because it's like whatever my Spy is alone, you know? Let's see, do we have knock number 2? No, we're trying to go beat over the set and then Kaiku banish whatever it is. But now if this is Magician of Faith, it is going to resolve, and the Graceful Charity will go into Vive Cristo's hand, which is very good for them, of course. Okay, oh, now we finally play in the Mirror Force, and Vive Cristo does have it, though, so getting punished. Vive holding that after turn 1, so not choosing to protect their Knight Assailant, is a little bit interesting, but maybe confident that they can get some other Darks Engrave, and potentially, right, if you have Magician of Faith. I mean, yeah, I guess if the play is that you want to make sure your Magician of Faith resolves, I can definitely understand holding Mirror Force, um, so that your light doesn't get banished by the Kaiku at some point, right? And if you're gonna go Faith, resolve Faith, grab Graceful Charity, like it's pretty easy to get another Dark in the Grave if you really want to. So losing your Knight Assailant is not the end of the world, honestly. So I like the hold Mirror Force here from Vive Cristo, getting a little bit more information, not really losing too much advantage by taking that Kaiku hit, and now likely trying to force through this Magician of Faith resolution. Of course, even better if they have like Tsukuyomi in hand to then reset the Faith and start going off combo wise. But yeah, Rainbow finally playing into Mirror Force, and then the one time that they do get punished. So, you know, maybe it was correct to be playing around Mirror Force there. But unfortunately, Cristo is in a very good spot to start grinding out this game. Rainbow at least did save their normal summon, so in main phase 2, they can go T-set pass, keep up a little bit of pressure. But I would not be surprised to see Vive just slam down this Magician of Faith. Going Thunder Dragon first as well is pretty nice. So getting a light engrave, getting potential fodder, discard fodder for the Graceful Charity that might be coming through as well. So very solid top deck there. Really happy about that one as the turbo player. Yep, then we can flip Summon Faith, grab the Graceful, discard the Double Thunder Dragon. But we're going to discard Spy, turning on Chaos. Yeah, so of course, as I mentioned, if you're confident that you can resolve a Graceful at some point to get a Dark Engrave, you don't really care about that one Kaiku hit, so holding on to the Mirror Force makes sense. Playing out basically exactly, I think, as Via Cristo drew it up. Get to resolve this Graceful. Now, they probably weren't exactly planning on drawing Thunder Dragon to have as discard outlet for the Graceful, but that is just all gravy, right? And now they get to set up Chaos. They get to discard, a fake card to go plus off the Graceful here for the second time this game. And now it's slowly but surely becoming out of reach, I fear, for Rainbow. Let's see, though. Vive setting up for Chaos. Very likely that they're going to drop like a BLS here or something. We're just going to go set a monster, set a back row pass, though. Leaving Rainbow's set untouched for now. Of course, this set could be like a Raigeki break to deal with it. But you don't really care too much about Magician of Faith at this point. But yeah, Vive Cristo just really grinding this one out pretty well. And Rainbow is very far in the hole at this point. They have Faith of their own. The only target is Nobleman of Crosso, which could be pretty good with a set monster on Vive's side of the board. So you're not going to scoff at that. Help you bring it back. Gonna knock a Sangan. Okay, not too bad. I mean, at this point, a lot of the Sangan targets are kind of out of the deck. I mean, I guess you would probably want to go grab a Tsukuyomi if you don't already have one to establish a Suk loop. So knocking Sangan, getting a little bit of value there. Not too bad. And it was free, of course, right? And then Rainbow has Tsukuyomi of their own here to set up their own Suk loop. So this is definitely a way back into the game. I'm sure they wish that they had a little bit more versatile of a spell to recur with the Faith other than Nobleman of Crossout. But it will at least be a bit of a sort of tempo advantage here for Rainbow by making Vita Crystal a lot less likely to want to set any of their monsters because there's always the threat of recurring this Nobleman to come through. Tsukuyomi here can go clear out the Faith as well. But we've got Book of Moon to set the Faith and then grab Graceful Charity again. We still have a remaining Thunder Dragon in hand to discard as well, so this is going to be another very valuable Graceful Charity. And yeah, I mean, if Vive Cristo can play Chaos Turbo, resolve 3 Graceful Charities, basically plussing every time and not win the game, I will be very surprised. But we're going to play it out, of course. Rainbow here has at least a Suk loop of their own. As long as they can find, like, any spell that's better than Knock to recur with it, they're going to be in a decent spot. So not out of it just yet, of course. Vive, though, going to draw for turn. Going to fire off Heavy Storm. Rainbow has the draw agreed to chain, but it will just trade 1-for-1 with the Mirror Force, which is pretty nice. Now you know you don't need to play around that anymore. Mirror Force, one of those cards that is not that great against Turbo, so somewhat surprised to see this post side. But I guess Rainbow plays a lot of beaters, and if you're expecting like some buyers to come in to deal with your Kaikus, it can be good to have Battle Traps. So not the end of the world. It is cleared out here, though, for Vive. Ooh, and they found Pot of Greed for turn as well. So making sure the back row is clear to go for this just massive turn. We're going to see Pot into Graceful. Discarding another Spy and the last remaining Thunder Dragon. Getting 2 potential Chaos going there in the grave. A nice full grip of 8 cards, which is pretty insane when none of them are Thunder Dragons. Um, but the best they can muster this turn is just set a monster, set a few back row pass. So likely just has not found BLS yet. I mean, when you're up so many cards, you can kind of afford to slow roll it as well, and just try and resolve your Dekoichis and things like that. So still totally fine. Vive's still very far ahead, despite not being able to really pressure Rainbow too much at this point. Rainbow, though, has this Suklip going on. Oh, and we're going to get standby phase. Yeah, so Vive Cristo, of course, setting a monster into potential Faith grab Nobleman, right? Because you know the set monster is Faith. So there's no way they do that unless they have almost exactly Raigeki Break to answer the Faith coming through. So we're just going to get standby phase Raigeki Break, discard a Metamorphosis. Okay, so Vive Cristo potentially on a little bit of Chaos Control, actually. But break, discard meta, pop the Faith. This is a 2-for-1, of course, but you're up so many cards that it's really not the end of the world. And Rainbow is going to go, okay, they're going to set a back row and then play Graceful Charity. So this does play around Trap Dust Shoot, which we know Vive is running. I mean, Vive probably just fires it off earlier anyway. But in case they have held Dust Shoot, I definitely can understand going for this play. And let's see, gonna discard Gravekeeper Spy, the second dead one, and a Zambira. Okay. So Rainbow siding in Zambira is not something that I would have expected because Vive hasn't really shown that they're willing to play any beaters. But maybe if you're expecting Kaiku to come in, Zambira can be good. But yeah, definitely not surprised to see if Rainbow did side in Zambira for that purpose. Definitely not surprised to see it get discarded here because you haven't really found a use for it just yet. So pretty safe discard. And then they have the second copy of Nobleman of Crosshead here to banish Vive Cristo's second Magician of Faith. Okay, so no more Graceful Charity resolutions for Vive allowed the rest of this game. They're going to have to do with only having resolved it 3 times. Woe is them, of course. And yeah, it looks like neither player has any Faiths left in deck. Rainbow, though, could be on multiple copies, so wouldn't be surprised to see one in hand. And now they have some good stuff in grave to recur. So you got to be a little bit scared of set monsters here if you're Vive, because it's pretty likely that they actually have a Faith in hand at this point. Gonna set it pass. Yeah, so the Faith alarm bells are ringing if you're Vive Cristo. You already had to Raigeki break the last card. 2 for winning yourself in the process, so hopefully for them, they have a little bit more of an efficient answer to the potential threat. Gonna draw for turn, Jar of Greed within the deck a little bit more. Into Swords of Revealing Light, potentially just triggering the Magician of Faith. Oh no, it is just a Tsukuyomi though. Okay, so Rainbow getting a little bit cute. Maybe they just run a single Magician of Faith. It is a little bit more aggressive of a deck, so I can understand just running one of the, kind of slower cards. Now that you know that this set is Tsukuyomi, though, pretty easy to just beat over it with a lot of stuff in a standard turbo list. Ooh, we can fire off Delinquent Duo as well, getting a hot 2-for-1 very late into the game. Rainbow, so Rainbow did have the Magician of Faith in hand, but was trying to bait out. Man, I don't know about that. You saw Vive Cristo had to 2-for-1 themselves with a Raigeki break to deal with your last set monster. So I feel like it's pretty unlikely that they have any set monster interaction at this point. So if I was Rainbow, I'd probably just slam that Faith there. But now that it's just hit the grave, Vive Cristo's plussed again thanks to Duo, and your set is just a Tsukuyomi, things are looking very, very good for Vive at this point. They got Tribe Infecting Virus here as well, which they know can beat over the Tsukuyomi. Really solid, Mirror Forces in the gray, so that's not really going to be something you have to worry about. Tribe gets flipped face down, but who really cares, especially when Swords is on the board to protect it. And yeah, Vive just basically needs to find a Clash closest one out, because it is pretty much lights out at this point. Rainbow sets a back row pass. Not the end of the world. We got Chaos Sorcerer slamming down for Vive Cristo. Can, of course, afford to get very aggressive now that this Mirror Force is gone, so totally fine. We're going to go Metamorphosis it into probably a Ryu Senshi here. So now, even if there is, like, a Torrential Tribute or a Sakuretsu Armor or something out of Rainbow, you really don't have to worry about it. So this is quite card advantage negative for Vive, but Ryu Senshi is just really good, and you're up cards anyway, so you can kind of afford it just to make sure you can push through your aggression. So we will likely just see Flip Summon Tribe, start clocking the opponent for 36 a turn, Seems pretty solid. Oh, especially if you have another Chaos Sorcerer to summon anyway. Totally fine, yeah. And there's basically no way for Rainbow to punish this. Even Scapegoat you don't really care about, right? And yeah, we're just going to get in for a ton of damage here. Really nice play out of Vivo. Finally getting to a point where they're able to liquidate their card advantage to get themselves into a winning position on the board. And going to be able to pass with Lethal, and Rainbow pretty much has no out at this point. Let's see, though. They do have Chaos Live. BLS is a card. See what they can do. We're going to go Snatch Shield. Okay, Snatch Shield is pretty good. We're going to Snatch the Chaos Sorcerer, though. Okay, interesting. So you can't snatch the Ryu Senshi, so you're not going to do that, of course. Snatching Tribe, I guess... Yeah, Snatching Tribe isn't that good because you only have one card to discard, and there's a Warrior and a Spellcaster. So you can go Snatch Chaos Sorcerer. It's bigger than the Ryu Senshi, so it's not like Ryu Senshi can just beat over it in battle. And then you can just go Banish the Tribe and set up to banish the Ryu Senshi next turn, is probably the play. Oh, we're just going to ring the Sork, though. So saying, you know what? You are not going to break my board. I'm fine. Once again, 2-for-1ing myself to drop you down very low on life points. And yeah, now Rainbow finds themselves at 800. Lethal on board once again for Vive Cristo. Snatch Steal gone. Things are looking good. Board is quite simplified, though, so if Rainbow does find a big threat like a BLS, things could be looking good. But you have exactly one turn to do it, and it looks like their hand does not have that. So really just needs to like have exactly like Scapegoat, right? That's pretty much the only card that does anything in this scenario. And it's not even that great, right? Because if Vive decides to hold their card in hand, they can just clear out the Go tokens main phase 2 with the Tribe. So basically you're playing for Scapegoat here to buy a turn into BLS is really your only out in this scenario. But just going to come through. Yeah, so Scapegoat is live. Nice. Main phase 2. Tribe discard Tsukuyomi, so you just traded 1-for-1 with the Tribe and the Suk, and that's not, totally fine. Rainbow, though, did we draw BLS? No, we're going to set a monster. Okay. So slowly but surely, at least kind of walling things out. Vivo, top decks BLS, though. I think that's got to be GG. Yeah, no outs here, right? Because of the Ryu Senshi on board. And that should do it. Yep. There you have it. 2-0, although it was a pretty long match. Vive Cristo on, I guess, Chaos Control. Takes it down over Goat Control from Rainbow. So a little bit of a control mirror match. But Vive Cristo able to, come back. Goat Control often nowadays acts more of like an aggro deck, just with like Scapegoat combos as like a backup plan. And in game 1, Rainbow was very quickly able to take it to Vive, pressuring them with their aggro monsters pretty early on. But then Vive was able to stabilize at exactly 500 life, put the shields up, and kind of claw their way back from there. Game 2 here, though, Vive, got to resolve Graceful Charity 3 times thanks to multiple Magician of Faiths. It was Graceful, then Faith Graceful, then Book on Faith, Grab Graceful, and was able to plus off of it every time. And then it was, Rainbow made a nice fight out of it, but eventually Vive was just able to find the win with some cute Metamorphosis plays with their powerful Chaos stuff, kind of showing off all of the cool lines that Chaos Control can use, especially when they have a million cards to operate with. And it's going to be a relatively clean 2-0 for Vive Cristo here. Hope you guys enjoyed this match. I will catch you all next time.